What's going on, guys? Today we are going to be reviewing the CJRB Crag. Now, this is a knife that's been out for a little while, and it is definitely a knife that I like. I like the blade shape of this. I'm pretty excited about this because this is the copper handled version, and so I wanted to show this to you guys because I hadn't seen any reviews out there on the copper specifically model. Obviously the copper weighs more, but it also, you can get this in different G10 models as well, and they may have a carbon fiber, I'm not sure. So if you're not familiar with CJRB, this is basically the budget brand or budget line of Artisan Cutlery. And Artisan Cutlery is a Chinese company, and they've been putting out some really nice knives here with their CJRB line as well. So let's talk a little bit about this knife in particular. And guys, just let's start with the big thing, right? The copper is absolutely gorgeous. I'm a big fan of copper knives. Now, they do add a lot of extra weight, but for me, I think they're absolutely gorgeous. I love watching them patina. And I actually want to show you this. I've only had this knife not even for a week yet. And right before I shot this video, I cleaned up this side because, and hopefully you can tell, yeah, got even a little fingerprint here on it. But they really come in very shiny, but if you're using it and you're carrying it, especially this time of year, for me it's summer where I'm at, you're going to put a lot of different stuff on there, and very quickly it's going to patina, which I love, so I'm pretty excited about that. This does come on a ceramic ball bearing, and the action on this knife is definitely very nice. It comes right out. The detent is good. You can see the detent kind of sits, it pulls back just a little bit for you. The detent sits right about there, and that's sitting right there, so you just go past that detent and there it is. Now, this blade does not drop shut, which I'm going to be honest with you, I don't want blades to drop shut. I'm kind of excited about the fact that it doesn't, but it does definitely go right in very easily. The reason I don't like drop cuts is because it's too easy to get your fingers in there and get nailed by them, but this one is very smooth and very easily does it deploy and then close right back up for you. So that is ceramic ball bearings, like I said, here on the pivot. You will notice there on that pivot, that little orange collar around that, that is an aluminum pivot there. And I don't know, you know, the orange is okay. I think you probably could do some other colors on there. It might look good too, but that's on both sides there. And, you know, I don't have a problem with that. I think it does kind of add a little bit to us. You know, otherwise this is pretty plain. There's not a whole lot of design to it, but that's okay. This is a tool primarily, and if you're going to own a knife like this, this is what you're probably going to use it for. This isn't that expensive, you know, it's only in the $50 range, and you can get these right on Amazon. I'll leave a link below if you are interested in getting this knife. The steel on here is D2, and if you're not familiar with D2, it is a very, very popular steel. It's like kind of that mid-grade steel. You know, there are definitely better steels out there, but, you know, D2 is very popular with knives, and that's for a reason. It's a really good steel to have on your knives. It is a stonewash blade, as you can see, and I definitely prefer having either, you know, a stonewash. I prefer these over some of the black blades you can find out there, just because when you sharpen them, you know, I want to be able to keep it looking pretty good. And if you sharpen with some of those black blades, they look pretty ugly pretty fast. So the blade does come fairly sharp right out of the box. You know, I can definitely shave some hair there, and that's carrying its edge. I didn't put my own edge on this one yet, so definitely happy with the sharpness right out of the box. So if you take a look at this, it has these pillars here, the steel pillars offsetting, so it's an open back design, which is going to make it really easy to clean this knife and blow out any dust or dirt or grime that might get in there. It does have a pocket clip here. It's a deep pocket carry clip, which I like. I don't necessarily think you have to worry about this knife falling out of your pocket because it does have some weight to it. You know, I don't know. I don't have a scale, so I can't guarantee you for sure, but they're listed at over 8 ounces, so it is definitely a heavy knife. Their pocket clip is reversible, so you can stick it right hand or left hand carry. I do wish that they would have milled this out a little bit. But, you know, again, this is only a $50 knife, so you're not going to get some of those, you know, those things are going to cost you a little bit more money. If it was milled out, it probably would cost you more than, you know, the $50 range that it's at right now. The one thing within this is not milled out at all. Those are, you know, I wish the liners had been milled out a little bit just to cut back on the weight a little bit. But again, if you're buying a copper knife, weight was not your primary concern to begin with. So probably not the biggest deal for most of you. It is a liner lock, and the lockup on it is really pretty good. I'd say that's about 50% or so. And hopefully that's coming across okay for you on camera there. Blade centering is just about perfect, I think, which again, most companies at this point are getting this right and not having any problem with that. It does have a pretty decent size thickness for the blade. The blade thickness is 0.13 inches. It is a full flat grind. Well, I say it's a full flat grind. You can see there's just a little bit of a flat there, and then the grind down. Really, that's going to be great for a lot of your sharpeners. It's really going to make sharpening this knife easy for you. And, you know, overall, I really do like this knife. If we look at the length, you can see this is in inches, so for those of you who are using metric, I apologize. But there it is. The cutting length here is just over 3 inches. The overall length of the blade is over the knife opened up is just over 8 inches. If we close it, we can set it down, and we're about 4.5 inches at that point. So, you know, overall, guys, I really like this knife. I think if you enjoy copper knives, you're really going to enjoy this. I wanted to show you this in comparison to some other knives. So another very common and probably the most popular copper knife out there is this Natrix. Now, the Natrix, you know, from Kershaw, this steel on this is not as nice to me as the D2 steel of this knife. You know, it does have some a little bit more intricate details in the copper, but the steel's not quite as nice. There's less copper to it. You know, a little bit of a different design for the lock, but this knife's going to cost you quite a bit more money than this. Last time I looked at these, they were running about $70 at most places. You know, so is this a nice knife? Absolutely. You know, if you're looking for something a little bit smaller that doesn't weigh quite as much, this might be okay for you. But for the money, I think you get a better value here with the Crag from CJRB. So let's take a look at a couple other, you know, competitive options maybe for you. Let's take a look at, this is probably my favorite knife of all time. And you know, you may not be familiar with this one. Did not get as much love as I thought it should get, but that's the Lion Steel Kerr. Now, this is a more expensive knife with, you know, premium steel, and one that I absolutely enjoy, but size wise it is very comparable to the Crag. So if you have, you know, the Lion Steel Kerr and it's a good knife for you, this one might fit well for you as well. A couple other knives we can look at. This is another Kershaw here. We have the Kershaw Knockout. This is not in production anymore, but this is a knife. This is probably the knife that really got me into keeping knives. This is one I absolutely love. So definitely about the same size as the Knockout. You know, definitely a thicker knife, but you can see that, and definitely weighs a lot more. But that's the Kershaw Knockout. And then, you know, one more we'll look at, the Southern Grind Spider Monkey. You know, and again, I think that these are similar in size. You can see the Southern Grind's a little bit smaller than the CJRB. Now, the one thing about this knife that I didn't love is this finger choil right here. And my problem with this is I love finger choils up on the blade like that. Problem is this one's a little bit too small. So if I grab this in my hand, I want to be able to kind of wrap my whole hand about it. And you can see I would end up cutting myself quite a bit there with that. So I can't really lock in the way I want to. And if you're not going to make it big enough that I can really lock in for a powerful cut, then for me, I'd rather just see you keep just a small sharpening choil on there instead of this. So I might decide to mill this out a little bit bigger. I don't know. We'll see how much I carry it. I do think I will carry this knife for a while, but we'll see if I decide to do that or not. But overall, I do think that it is a pretty nice knife. Now, in hand, I wish, again, I could hold it like that because I think that that would be very comfortable. If I come up here, it's not quite as comfortable for me. And I find this with a lot of these, you know, where they have these deep cutouts, they just don't fit my hand quite as nicely, but it's not bad. You know, a reverse grip, absolutely, that feels great. You know, if I can get a good one on camera. If I, you know, backwards grip now, you know, obviously you're not going to use this a whole lot, but again, it feels comfortable there. So I am very happy. I think this is going to be a great knife for me, and it's probably one that I'll be keeping for quite a while. If you guys enjoyed this, and if you found it helpful, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. We're just getting started, and we're going to be doing lots more gear reviews coming up.